What's up, everybody? Hey guys, it's Tyler with Hooksets Are Free. Hope you're having a great night. It is Monday night, October 11th. I rarely, if ever, go live throughout the week, especially on a Monday. However, I did finally get my discount tackle package for the month in just a couple days ago, and thought I would hop in here and do a live stream with you guys in order to open it up and show you what I picked up this month. I don't think it was too far from the ordinary. I spent about my normal amount in the way of 70 or $80. So just want to show you what was on my mind, what I felt like purchasing, and what I will be adding to my arsenal. So I'll give people just a minute or two to hop in here before I rip open this package and just quickly run through it. But this probably will not be a very long live stream this evening. What's up, Riley? How are you doing? Thank you very much, Riley. Yeah, doing pretty well, thank you. Had a doctor's appointment today, just to double check on a little growth that I have. It's just a cyst, not a tumor or anything like that. So that's all good news. We're all doing well, thank you. Yeah, the kids are still sick, but such is life these days. We're gonna have to probably get them COVID tested because my daughter's got that surgery this upcoming Friday. Well, 4 days from now, uh, and she's got a lingering cough. So we're probably gonna have to get her tested so that the surgery can happen. But yeah, she's just getting a little umbilical hernia removed, and so whatever. She lost a tooth last night. That was probably the most eventful and fun thing happening. That the tooth fairy got to come last night, so she now has two front teeth missing, on top, right in the middle. So I jokingly said that maybe we should carve some jack o' lanterns this year and have the face of the pumpkin missing the two front teeth like hers. But we'll see whether that happens or not. What's up, Daniel? How you doing, man? Thank you very much, Riley. I appreciate the kind words. So I'm going to take one more sip of this whiskey. This is that nicer one that I showed you guys a couple nights ago that, my brother and his buddy from their podcast picked out a single barrel of and bottled it, and I was able to get my hands on one. But let's get into this because I don't know how many people are going to show up tonight, if that. So I just thought I would hop on here to do the unboxing, and it might be just you guys for now. So I will do it like always, okay? So first I'm going to show you guys the invoice of what I picked up. And just like I thought, I spent $79. Picked up some cool stuff. So there probably is a sticker in here, as always, but I'll show that to you when I get to it. So a couple things that you ought to know aside from the fact that Discount Tackle's been getting in some new baits, is that they're running a clearance sale, an end of the year sale right now. Let me double check that it's still going on. Pretty sure it is, but I took advantage of a lot of these deals going on. Yeah, end of the season blowout sale. So a lot of these things are super discounted, and you ought to take a look at their website. If you're thinking about buying any tackle anytime soon, that would be a good place to look. Daniel says, best whiskey in the world comes from Kentucky. It's just not legal. Haha. Yeah, well, you're right. People from Kentucky tend to be purists and a little bit elitist in feeling like it's not officially bourbon unless it comes from Kentucky. So I hear you, man. I definitely think that that some of the best bourbon comes from Kentucky. So first up, and perhaps the one that I'm most excited about, is the Storm Arashi Swimmer. You guys already know that I have the Arashi Glide in my arsenal. I've got a couple of them and think that they are really great baits. I've got one that is upstairs in the garage that I've been fishing more recently. That's a rainbow trout pattern, and this one right here has been tied on a number of times. And this is the Oikawa Mesu color. So anyway, this is a 7.5-inch glide bait. Weighs about 3 or 3.5 ounces. That's a little bit bigger than most of these smaller glide baits on the market. It's kind of a true mid-sized bait, and it's a really good one. So a couple things that make it unique are that it's got a pretty wide swinging hinge here. So it's got a very wide glide when it kicks out. It will travel a few feet if you hit it harder. And then one of the best features is the rotating hook hangers. So a fish really doesn't get the leverage to throw the hook once you hook up with them. And yeah, this is just an awesome bait that is very affordable. So this guy right here is I don't know, it retails for about 35 bucks, I want to say. And it was released a couple of years ago, but is a traditional glide bait. It will have a relatively smooth swimming action if retrieved at medium speed and steadily. But really, it is a glide bait that is meant to be twitched or worked with, 3/4 turns of the reel in order to get that bait to dart and do more erratic things. And it will turn all the way around for you if you're needing to trigger bites that way. So let me see if I can get into this packaging. Um, Without totally destroying it. Here we go. Boom, baby. That was easier than I thought it would be. So on the package, it tells me that this is a 7-inch bait, so perhaps a little bit shorter than the glide bait. It weighs 2 3/16 ounces, 62 grams. So just a little bit smaller than the glide bait, but we will compare them side by side. The main difference between these two baits is that this is a multi-jointed swim bait. So as you can see, this guy has 2 joints instead of just the one. And you can already tell immediately that this is a thinner bait than the Arashi Glide. So if I put these up side by side, you can see that the Arashi Glide is about a 1/2 inch longer. And like I said, it weighs probably an ounce more. So it is a bigger bait for sure. And then what you notice is that it's thicker, the glide bait, and it has bigger hooks on it. Now I can't remember if I swapped out these treble hooks that come stock on it for owner ST36 hooks or not. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, I don't think I upsized them much. Interesting. One thing that I noticed right away, and I thought that this hook hanger was bent. Okay, as you see, it's off to one side. But I went to inspect that and take a look at this. This is actually a rotating line tie. So the glide bait does not have that feature. This guy is fixed onto the nose of the bait, But on the Arashi Swimmer, this is actually a rotating line tie. So very cool. You know, the Arashi Glide does come with this snap on the front as well, but I usually go ahead and remove that because I like to use different snaps than these ones that come stock. But I will use a Spro Prime Snap instead. So very cool. It's got those rotating hook hangers. It's got a rotating line tie, and then it's got 2 joints in the bait. You'll also notice that in the package, just like the Arashi Glide, comes an extra spare tail. These are a fairly soft plastic. They are relatively thick though, so I haven't had any issues with the tails ripping or getting too bent up just yet. So I haven't had to replace them, but it is nice that Storm includes that in the package. So anyway, yeah, first bait on the list that I decided to pick up is the Storm Arashi Swimmer. It should be a little bit more manageable, having that thin body, and should cut through the water just a little bit easier, given that it is meant to fish on a more of a straight retrieve. I got this color pattern, which I believe is called Green Gill, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. Yeah, Green Gill is what it's called. And in my opinion, this color pattern can be kind of multi-purpose. It's a little transparent, but it could imitate both a bluegill and a perch fairly well. So I actually intend to use it to imitate a perch more than I do a bluegill. So anyway, I really like the feel and the look of this bait. It's got just a little bit of a rattle inside it. I didn't give you guys that shake and that slight knock that's in the Arashi Glide. So let me catch up, see if you guys are saying anything. Daniel says, if you ever made proper moonshine, there's nothing better. I have never made proper moonshine, nor have I probably ever drank proper moonshine. I've had moonshine before, but I don't know that it was from Kentucky, dude. What's up, Guggen Slayer? How you doing tonight, man? Daniel says, I've not tried glide baits. I just don't know how well they would do in my local lakes because of the fish size. How big do your fish get, Daniel? And I'll be honest with you and tell you that a bait this big, that is 7.5 inches long, will get bit by 2-pounders a lot. So you really don't need to be intimidated by glide bait size. The other thing that you can do is downsize just a little bit. And this is like the River to Sea S Waver 168. So, you know, quite a bit smaller than that Arashi Glide. And definitely not too intimidating for dinks to eat. So, yeah, you say it's rare to catch a 4-pounder, but still, I will tell you right now that you can get your smaller fish to eat these baits. So, it's just it's a fun way to fish, and it's a good way to target the bigger fish. If you know where they live, or if you're fishing a spot where you have caught some of the bigger fish in your area, I would give that technique a try for sure. And it doesn't even have to be a glide bait. It can just be a medium to large swim bait. You know, this is the 6-inch version. They even call it a junior. This is the Spro BBZ1. And it's like a 2-ounce bait. So somewhat comparable to that Arashi Swimmer that I just picked up. But I will tell you right, Guggen Slayer just got his first double. I assume you mean double up, like you caught 2 fish on the same bait, or the same rig, as opposed to catching a double digit. What do you mean by double? So let me just double check that price for you, because it was part of that blowout deal, guys. The Storm Arashi Swimmer, I believe it also retails for like $36.99. Not 100% sure about that, but it was on sale for $23.99, and that is like a legit. I mean, you do the math for me. What is that? 40% off or something like that? Two bass on a deep crank. That's pretty sweet, man. I should be able to do this mental math better, but Tackle Warehouse sells them for $37.99. And if I do $23.99 divided by $37.99, that's 63% of the original price. So we're talking 37% off. That's a hell of a deal. And I could not help but pick one of these guys up simply because it was on my radar and was probably a bait that I was going to get sooner or later. But oftentimes I decide to wait until like, oh, let's say the Black Friday sale at Tackle Warehouse or something like that, where you can save 25% off. But I saw that bait on sale for $23.99 on Discount Tackle, and I couldn't help myself. Another higher dollar bait that I picked up that I told you I was going to pick up. I told you guys this over the weekend, but yeah, one of my absolute favorite jerk baits, the Lucky Craft Pointer 100, but this in the H3 model. I don't know if it shows there very well. Pointer 100 H3. So this is a bait that they have in a couple of color patterns, but the prices have varied depending on the color that's available. So this color here is a favorite of mine. I showed you guys the LV500 in this color, and it's called Flake Flake Golden Sexy Minnow. So this is a transparent bait where you can see the internals. If I decide to let that ball bearing, that weight transfer system roll around in there, or you want to look at the rattles up top here, you can see through the bait, but there is a fair amount of flake and flash and color variation in this bait. There's a chartreuse line down the middle of it. It's got that gold head. So this is the Pointer 100, but instead of having two hooks on it, like always, this guy has three slightly smaller hooks on it. And as you can see, they're actually different size hooks. Looks like the front hook is a little bit smaller than the middle and the back. So that's interesting to me. I might end up playing around with those just a little bit, although I don't want to mess with the action of the bait too much. So like I said, the Pointer 100 has been and still is one of my favorite jerk baits on the market, especially for fall fishing when the fish tend to eat a little bit more aggressively than in the early spring, which are the main two times that I throw jerk baits and that a lot of people prefer to throw jerk baits. Though, like I always mention, you can fish a jerk bait year round and still get bit no problem. So let's see what's next in here, because a lot of these are going to be closeout items. So before we get there, ooh baby, this is the brand new Z-Man Big Blade Chatterbait. Check that thing out. This blade is actually quite a bit bigger than I would have thought. And that's a good thing, right? So as you can see, this bait comes in 1/2 ounce, 5/8 ounce, and 3/4 ounce. So they don't even make it in 1/4 or 3/8. 1/2 ounce is the lightest weight that they make it in. And I don't know if that's because this thing rides high in the water column. The blade that's bigger maybe makes it rise a little bit more. I don't know. But we'll have to see how that ends up working out. But I usually do prefer to fish a 3/8 ounce chatterbait over a half ounce, but I'm very curious to see what this guy is about. Um, and let me see if I can grab, like, here's just a white one close by, but this is a jackhammer chatterbait, and this is the new big blade. And if I put them directly side by side, you can see just how much bigger, and it's got to be at least 50% bigger, if not more than that. Um, this is a really big blade, and that is cool. So obviously, it's going to displace more water, probably put out uh, not just more vibration and a louder sound underwater, um, but it's going to put out more flash. It's going to thump harder, and might call some bigger fish over to it. So this guy, to my knowledge, has a 6/0 hook in it, and let's see what the package says, because I haven't done my due diligence in research here. But yeah, 6/0 heavy duty Mustad Ultra Point hook. This has kind of a more classic chatterbait keeper on it, which is just a single lead bait keeper. Nothing totally crazy, but yeah, they say that this has an oversized stainless hex-shaped chatterbait blade for maximum thump and vibration, a molded dual conical barb to hold soft plastic trailers securely, and wire-tied silicone skirts. So I did not notice that right away, but I guess this is a wire-tied skirt, which I'm happy about. And yeah, this color pattern, which is a bluegill pattern, they call it bluegill, is a unique cross between, say, bluegill and like almost a beehite delight. There's more chartreuse in here than you would typically get in a bluegill pattern chatterbait. Like, here's the bluegill jackhammer. This is called Brett's Bluegill, and it's mostly just like a green pumpkin candy with an orange belly. And this guy, on the other hand, has green pumpkin, purple, orange, blue, yellowy chartreuse. It's got like the whole rainbow in it, and I'm not mad about that. Pretty cool. The one thing that I do notice about it is that it does not have eyes on it. It does have a little bit of a flatter head, so I wonder how that will affect the action or allow the bait to swim. But I'm excited about this big blade, big hook, and big chatterbait. So these guys are not cheap. I want to say that they cost like $11.99 or something like that, and I ended up getting them for $10.43. Very random price on those guys, but still a little bit discounted. Might end up, maybe that comes to 15% off or something like that. I got two of them. So that one was in bluegill, and this one is called chartreuse white and orange. So it is just a chartreuse and white skirt with a hint of orange on the belly. And then it's got this orange blade. Freaking love that thing. Dirty water killer. So very, very cool. So those are really the big ticket items that I went out of my way to spend a little bit closer to retail price on. However, that Lucky Craft Pointer 100 retails for like $16.99. I got it for $14.19. The big blade chatterbaits, I want to say, go for $11.99. I got them for $10.43. And lastly, I mean, that Arashi swimmer sells for $37.99 on Tackle Warehouse, $39.99 some places, and I got it for $23.99. So hell of a deal. What's up, Matt? You missed the notification. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I didn't know that the notifications might not be shipping out, you know, and I did not give you guys a heads up. I hinted at it the other night, but did not actually post anything on the community tab or anything like that this afternoon. So you haven't missed much. I've been on for 25 minutes, but been kind of taking my time. So the very quick cliff notes, if you will, are that I picked up one of the Storm Arashi Swimmer. Of course, these hooks are getting all tangled up. And here she is, multi-jointed swim bait that, when compared side by side to the Arashi Glide bait, is just a little bit smaller, a bit lighter. So instead of 7.5 inches and like 3+ ounces, this thing is 7 inches and like 2 1/3. And it's got the same tail, the same swiveling hook hangers on it, slightly smaller hooks, but it has a swiveling line tie on it, which is super cool. And yeah, it's narrower in profile. So this thing's going to have just a little bit smoother of a swim, be a little bit more manageable of a bait overall. But I got a super good deal on that. And if you guys are eyeing that bait at all, I would recommend you check out Discount Tackle ASAP. Then I showed you guys the Lucky Craft Pointer 100 with 3 hooks. This is the H3 version. So made exactly the same as the original Pointer 100, but it's got 3 hooks on it. Got a good deal on that for like 14 bucks. And then I just got 2 of the new big blade chatterbaits, and these blades are huge. So one last time, what you just missed was me comparing the jackhammer blade over here to the new big blade, and just how much bigger it is. So I was wondering about that when I showed you guys the Queen Tackle switchblades and the big ones that I just picked up, and they are nowhere near this big. So pretty excited about those. Now, I've only got a handful of other things in here. Whoops. And here I can reach down and see the Discount Tackle sticker that they included, as well as a little thank you card that on the back shows or asks you to write a review for your chance to win a pack of Z-Man Turbo Fatties, apparently. Not just a pack, but a prize pack featuring the Turbo Fatties. Okay. Interesting. So let's start with some Z-Man soft plastics, because these are part of the blowout end of season clearance sale that they have going on. And I couldn't help myself but pick up just a couple packs of Z-Man, because all this stuff is wicked cheap. And like I'm saying, it's usually on sale. For example, the Z-Man Minnows, the 3-inch soft plastic swim bait, on Discount Tackle. Well, the retail price is $4.49 right now. Discount Tackle has them for $2.74. Like, again, we're talking upwards of 40% off on a lot of these baits. The Jackhammer Chatterbait is $11.03 right now, in a few select colors. So better deals than you could find really any time of year, no matter where you're fishing, shopping rather. I mean, if you were to buy a Jackhammer Chatterbait on Tackle Warehouse during Black Friday, it's not going to be $11. At least I don't think. So first up is the Z-Man Pro Cross. I've talked about this bait a few times before because I've got a bunch of them here 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 packs right here and maybe 1 or 2 packs in the garage / in my tackle bag right now. But this color is one that I did not already have, and this is called Drew's Craw. So as you can see, it's a very natural top that's like a brown. It's more brown than it is green pumpkin with red flake in it, and then a very sandy bottom. And I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but pretty natural looking mud bug crawfish color. And yeah, I love this bait. And so I wanted it in a color pattern that was just a little bit more natural if I'm going to fish this thing by itself as opposed to on a jig trailer. But I love the size of this new Pro Craws. I always thought that the TRD Craws was a bit small, and that it would be awesome if they could upsize the bait. And that's exactly what they did in creating this Pro Craws, which is a 3.5-inch bait. And yeah, they come 3 to a pack, so they're not the cheapest baits on the market, but because they're made from Elastec, they're an awesome deal as it is. But these guys were $2.78. I mean, come on, paying less than $1 a bait for these super realistic, buoyant, super durable baits, and couldn't help it. So a little bit more Ned riggy. I picked up a pack of the TRD bugs in a color that I don't have yet, and this is the sprayed grass color. I've got a bunch of these. Got 3 packs here, and I've got probably another 3 or 4 packs in my Ned rig box that I carry around with me a lot of the time. So these come in a clamshell just sitting like this. And the TRD bugs is an underrated bait for sure. So sprayed grass, I mean, is a color pattern that everybody's familiar with. You get this like watermelon, purple, green flake, and it's awesome. So a little bit more of a clear watercolor, but the TRD bugs does awesome on a Ned rig and on a drop shot and on a micro jig, and it literally just it has a subtle action, but one that is unique. Once you separate those 2 claws, um, they will spread when you're moving the bait, and then as the bait hits the bottom, they will come back together. So literally spread, come back together, spread. It's a pretty cool action. Daniel says, I have a lot of success throwing a craw trailer on a chatterbait. Me too, man. Yeah, the turbo craws from Z-Man is one of my favorite chatterbait trailers, just period. But I used to use the Menace grub a lot. This year, I've started using the Z-Man goat a lot, and so I totally agree with that sentiment. That throwing a craw trailer on the back of a chatterbait can be equally as effective, if not more, than throwing a minnow style or straight tail style bait. One, because it's going to slow down the action and allow you to fish the bait a little bit slower or higher in the water column. And 2, it's going to give it just a little bit more kick than a straight tail would. You guys probably know by now, but I do not recommend throwing soft plastic swim baits on the back of a chatterbait unless, say, it's the Z-Man Diesel Minnows. There are only a couple of swim baits on the market that will work well on the back of a chatterbait because of the way that a swim bait tail tends to kick, and the displacement of water from a chatterbait pushing back on that trailer will cause most swim bait trailers to rise and just have kind of like a lazy wag to them, and they will not kick straight behind the bait. So you do need to have the right tool for the job. Of course, you can rig one upside down, and that helps a little bit, but we can talk about that another time. So, Guggen Slayer says, I use the Mudbug craw and then the smaller TRD craws. Yeah, I do too, man. Black and blue, Drew's craw, green pumpkin, greasy pumpkin, um, greasy prawn are the only ones that I've got sitting here. But I've got a couple others in my tackle bag upstairs, like I said. Excuse me. And the barking spider in my pants. This is a bait I don't already have, guys. This is the Z-Man Finesse Frogs. I have the larger frogs. That is an upscaled version of this bait, and I like it quite a bit. In fact, I've had good success on it this summer, throwing it on like a 4/0 EWG style hook. But this is a finesse version in a 2.75-inch size. So I did not quite realize. I mean, I knew it was finesse, but I didn't know what to expect, given that it is smaller. This is 2.75 inches, and I want to say the larger size is 4 inches. So I used to not love the look of just how wide these kickers are, but I actually am a pretty big fan of the action that these things put out. Plus, there's a really wide portion here for you to punch through the bottom with an EWG hook and let it rest in there. You really do not need to tech expose your bait. And the hookup ratio on these things is fantastic. So with such a small bait here, this will need like a 1/0 hook. I mean, really small. But I love this color pattern. It's called Mud Minnow. And to me, it looks like a very natural toad or frog. It's got this green pumpkin top and a little bit of a silvery belly, but very excited for these. These come 4 to a pack, and I might start throwing them immediately. I could see them being good on the back of a Ned rig too, but let me tell you real quick, the TRD Bugs was $2.78, and the Finesse Frogs were $2.78. So all of these baits were $2.78 per pack. I mean that's about as cheap as soft plastics get. You'd have to be buying Yum or maybe some net bait stuff, or some Zoom soft plastics, maybe, but they're not always that cheap. So if you guys are looking to get anything Z-Man related, check out Discount Tackle because the deals are insane right now. Now, I've only got a couple more things in this pack. Four more things. 3 to talk about, really. So, first is a hook. And these are the Hayabusa baby shooting ball jig heads. And these are even smaller than I thought they would be. So Hayabusa is a Japanese company. And they make great stuff. They've really made waves in the U.S. market the last year or two, and are making some great stuff. So interesting. Look at these. These come 4 to a pack, and they come packaged like individually to protect the weed guard and the hook. They've got these stapled on here. That's pretty cool. But I'm going to go ahead and unstaple this, take it out, and show you guys what we're working with here. Oh, that's not exactly what I thought it would be. I had read that this was a titanium weed guard, and it's not. So this weed guard looks to be pretty light duty. If you check this out, it's not going to do a whole lot for you. Um, so I was kind of mistaken about that, but I do like the overall design of this jig head. This is tiny, okay? It's a 1/16 ounce jig head. So this is a Ned rig hook. In fact, it's got a size 2 hook on it, a little bit smaller than would be typical. Most Ned rig jig heads have like a size 1 on them. And what's cool about this is it's got a double bait keeper on it. So it's still rock solid. And it's got a football head. Or is this not? This is the shooting ball. I thought it had a football head on it, but maybe this isn't really a football head. It's kind of like a hybrid style. I think it is a football head. If you look at it from the top, it's got a football shape, um, but it's got that recessed line tie that's kind of tucked in here. And so it's going to be just a little bit more protected from snagging. Plus, it's got that weed guard. Well, if you want to call it a weed guard, good gracious. This looks like it's just a piece of mono or something. Um, and it might only be like 12 or 15 pound in terms of strength. So, what I'm more excited about is the shape and the size and the design of this head. But again, it's a size 2 hook and a 1/16 ounce jig head. So, pretty excited about these. I will throw um, Ned rig size craw baits on the back of this thing. So, for example, that TRD bugs that I just got, or the TRD craws, anything along those lines, I will throw on this little baby shooting ball jig head from Hayabusa, and I'll keep you guys posted about how I end up liking it after having an opportunity to fish it. But next up is another terminal tackle option. Matt says I've got a couple packs of those finesse frogs. Put them on the back of a finesse buzzbait. Awesome choice there. That's a great idea. Something that I didn't think to do just yet, but thank you for the inspiration. Matt says my Picasso ball heads with titanium weed guards, pretty similar to the stiffness as that. Um, they last longer. That's all. Interesting. I thought they would be much heavier duty. Um, titanium weed guards. So I'm just a little bit confused or disappointed by that. You know, I was looking at those Picasso jig heads as well, although Discount Tackle doesn't sell them. So when I saw the Hayabusa ones on uh, on Discount Tackle, I decided to pick them up, and they weren't all that expensive either. They were on sale too. So $3.28 for the pack of four. I decided to just take a shot on them. Now, here's a different concept of something that I've been meaning to do for a while, and these are inline single hooks. Not every company makes these, to be honest, uh, but a lot of guys. This is more of a saltwater thing than freshwater, but a lot of guys who are not big fans of treble hooks will take inline single hooks. And what I say when I say inline, I mean that line tie is in line with the hook. So you can set it on a split ring and it will be along the bait. It would be sideways if it was like a traditional hook, like a drop shot hook, for example, where that that eye was actually not in line, but rather perpendicular. So people will swap out treble hooks for inline hooks on a lot of different hard baits. And I decided to get a pack of these. These are the size 2. So I can't tell you exactly what that's going to convert to, but this is probably a smaller equivalent of maybe like a size 6 treble hook. So of course you'd have to step up to like a 1/0 or 2/0 if you really wanted to sub out for, a size 4 or a size 2 treble hook. So I was not looking to do it on big baits, but rather on maybe some of my finesse jerk baits, things like that, where I might be fishing for trout, and I'll just pinch that barb down and give it a shot. So inline hooks, decide to see what they're about. Again, $3.19 for a 10 pack. Um, I don't think that they had a wide selection of sizes, and so my hand was forced a little bit when it came to what I was going to get there, but decided to pull the trigger on those. And then last, and I mentioned these on my live stream last week, um, this is for wintertime fishing and or trout fishing. And these are the Spro Fat Fly in the 1/16 ounce. So as you can see there, it says Bill Sementel Fat Flies, PHAT. So these come 2 to a pack, and they're lightweight. They make them only in lightweights because this is not the same as the traditional hair jig that Spro makes, which I do have 1 or 2 of those as well. But these are made specifically for the float and fly technique. That vertical line tie is, and the weight of the jig head are designed to go hand in hand so that under a float, uh, this bait will remain horizontal in the water column, and you can catch cold water fish with these. So I look forward to giving these a try. It says a 1/16 ounce, but I'm going to take one out of the package to just try and get a feel for how big or small, rather, the hook is that comes on this guy. And let's take a look at it. This is probably a size 1 hook. Looks kind of like a traditional Ned rig hook. But cool thing is, just like pretty much all things Spro, these are Gamakatsu hooks that are tied on here, and these are hand-tied jigs. They've got eyes on them. They look to be really well made, even down to the paint. So this color pattern here is called bluegill, but it really kind of also looks like it imitates a baby bass pretty well. So it's got a green top and a white, little bit of a white belly in terms of the bucktail hair on this thing. So should have some good undulation in the water. These obviously are meant to imitate bait fish, small bait, in fact. So picked up 2 packs of them, one in this bluegill color and another in what they call blue shad. And this is just a little bit more of like a minnow imitator or a baby shad. And so with this one, you get like a blue back and a white belly. I don't think there's any like crystal flash in these guys, but they definitely looked interesting to me. And being this small, I think you'll catch pretty much anything that swims. Catch bluegill, crappie, um, catch bass, catch trout, kind of whatever you're targeting. And I think these fat flies will perform. So these guys were on sale for $3.03 per pack of 2. So $1.50 per. Matt says, and I assume you're talking about the inline hooks. They work well for trout, have a couple trout cranks that I use, that I have them for, and they work just fine, sharp as needles. Yep. And then you're both saying vertical jigging on these guys. Yes, that would work as well. But being that I'm a bank fisherman, first and foremost, I see myself throwing this under a float. Plus, if you use a float, you get the added weight from that bobber to be able to throw the bait out further and then also control the depth at which that thing is sitting. So, um, that's the only thing. If you're vertical jigging, if you're ice fishing, these things would be awesome as well. No doubt about it. So, good point that you guys make there. And that does it for my package for the month. And to be honest with you, I did not bring a my laptop charger down here today, and so unfortunately, my laptop just said that I'm starting to run low on battery, and I'm gonna have to cut this short and get out of here in a minute. But I appreciate you guys hopping on for a little bit. You know, this ended up going for 51 minutes, so a little bit longer than I would have thought. But yeah, in fact, I think I've only taken a couple sips of this bourbon. If I had my charger down here, if my wife wasn't coming back from dinner any minute now, I would probably hang out for a little bit longer with you guys. But I appreciate you guys' time and your support as always. Thanks for chilling. If you guys have any questions at any time, feel free to ask. Otherwise, check out Discount Tackle. I think literally everything that I purchased in this month's unboxing was on sale. So, a couple terminal tackle items, a swim bait, a couple of little micro hair jigs, some Z-Man soft plastics, the new Z-Man big blade chatterbaits. Um, I mean, dude, that Lucky Craft Pointer H3, I'm very satisfied. Uh, and I got all that for 79 bucks. So obviously, this is probably what I'm most excited about. And what I'm most surprised or impressed by is the rotating line tie. That I did not expect to see. And I wonder how it will impact the action of the bait, if at all. But very cool deal. And for $23.99, it's very, very hard to beat. Cool color pattern and one that will allow me to imitate both bluegill and perch quite well. And at its lighter weight of like 2.3 ounces or whatever it said, I'm excited. So, hope you guys have a great rest of your night and enjoy the rest of your week. I will most likely be on Saturday night, but perhaps not on Friday night. Again, my daughter Brooklyn is getting surgery on Friday, so my wife is not working Friday. We're probably just going to be hanging out with her, with our daughter, taking it easy as she begins to recover from, what is a pretty non-invasive surgery. So it shouldn't be too bad, but still want to be there for her, and therefore I probably won't be on. But if I am going to come on, I'll try to give you guys a heads up. Well, I don't disagree, Matt. Yeah, I hope it doesn't affect the action, and it is a cool color. It seems pretty versatile and also great for clear water. So, anyway, guys, cheers. Hope you have a great rest of your night and a good week, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.